Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. Yes, we're still here at ECMS, and I have my friend and fellow Music Nova Scotia board member. So I was just listening. You do the record label thing, you do the FCAN thing, you do the management thing. You're also on the board. You also are in a band.
Yeah.
You also do the promo thing. You do so many things as long as it's kind of like wrapped around music. And also, thanks for your radio show because it inspired me to do what I'm doing now. Trevor Murphy, thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Man, second time. Happy return.
Yes. So, first of all, let's just talk about your ECMS weekend. How's it been so far?
It's been really good. Like you mentioned, I play in a band. It's kind of a newer band. I started this French band called Sluice. We sing French, Acadian, rock and roll music. And so the last couple times that I've been around the ECMAs, it's been a shift in focus for me to kind of be talking to the French delegates, to talk to the people who are booking French festivals, but also to understand, what's going on out there in the Francophone and Acadian communities in Atlantic Canada. So that's kind of what I'm doing here this weekend. Got to play last night. It was really fun. We're playing again tonight, very late, and hoping it's kind of a party. It's not like a traditional. People think about French party bands and they think about Cajun bands and fiddle music, which is totally legit. We're a different kind of party.
Why did you decide to bring Sluice together?
Well, it was a long time coming for me. I really, came to learn about I had to learn about the importance of speaking French and what that I spoke French all my life growing up, at school mostly, and it felt like something we had to do. And then for a long time I didn't do it, and I realized that maybe it was something I wanted to do. And so it was a real long time coming. And then of course, because as you mentioned, I do so many things in the music industry, creating in French was like an important thing for me to try. And then on the basis of that trial, it seemed to be going well, and it has created this sort of new entity that we call Sluice, and it's a really fun thing. And it's a way that I get to share stories about the communities where I grew up in sort of an authentic accent and Acadian vibe, and just talk about how important that community is in a place like Atlantic Canada.
No, it is. And first, before I go to this part, Sluice, what's the story behind that name?
Okay, so it's twofold. Number one, so Acadians, when they first arrived on these territories, developed agricultural systems to help basically drain salt marshes so that it could create fertile workspace, fertile farming territory. And so they created these things called dikes that help drain the salt water off the marshes, but prevent salt water from rising when the tides come up. It's not something they invented. They actually imported that kind of technology from the Netherlands and from Dutch countries. But the sluice is the mechanism that allows the water to flow out. So I wanted something that was really linked to a really old history. But first and foremost, the name comes from the village where my grandparents are from, which is called Sluice Point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, twofold. Yeah. Totally makes sense. Okay, well, the question I was going to ask before Sluice came to mind was that shift happened, right? What would you say was the catalyst for that shift? I need to,
Yeah, I don't think there was one moment. I feel like it was a snowball effect for me over time, and just kind of getting back into. It was started actually me doing contracts in French, and somebody saying I was doing PR for the ECMAs actually, and I was working for a company who pitched the contract, and they said, we need a bilingual publicist. And the guy I was working for was like, you can speak French, right? And I was like, yeah, I can speak French. Yeah. And then I kind of just threw myself back into the fire, and that kind of got things rolling a little bit more for me. And then by the time, just kind of and then I found the pride in talking about that culture, because I think what was missing from it all for me, the length of the way, was understanding that a cultural pride, and you do it on your own terms. You got to find your own way there. And it took me a while to find my way there and to find my way of expressing it. And in this case, it's through, a rock and roll band that kind of sounds like sometimes Weezer, sometimes The Replacements, which is not something I saw growing up, And that was kind of the impetus for the band, was to say, what what would I have liked to see when I was 16? What might have made me interested in learning more about my culture and learning more about that language? So it's it's kind of like a philosophy project in some regards, and above and beyond the philosophy, it's like a cultural identity project for me, and it's a personalized journey. It's going to be different for everybody.
It's a personal thing, but it's a band though. Like
yeah, for sure.
Was it easy to get people to come on board this project?
Yeah, well, I mean, my main collaborator and my most frequent kind of partner in the endeavor is A.A. Wallace, who I've played in bands with for 20 years, but he's also from the region. We went to high school together. He's from a place called Wedgeport, which isn't too far away. He's an Acadian as well. So we're like aligned on the vision for sure. And then our drummer, Connor Booth, has been playing in bands with me for like a better part of 10 years. So we've just sort of developed this tight little unit to help, represent that and to make sure it's like a good product for people to enjoy and make some good tunes. At the end of the day, music is music. And if you don't understand the language, we still want you to enjoy the music.
Thanks to it. Okay. So, like on the promo end, actually, skip the promo thing, but aside, one thing that artists, especially artists, is because we're like, oh, I'll just put it on Spotify or throw it on Instagram or whatever. Like, what I've noticed, just sort of from a personal level, is like people are not ready to do those walks in the grassroots.
Right.
They're just like, I'll just slap it up there.
For
People
sure,
will like
for
it or
sure,
whatever.
for sure.
Like, so putting on your kind of promo hat, what kind of advice you have for like artists out there that are like just kind of doing, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but...
No. Liz, it's very simple. Don't underestimate the power of a plan. A plan will help guide your entire process trajectory from the most involved you want to be to the least involved you want to be. You still need a plan. You need to be organized. You need to know when things are going to be released. You need to know how and when you're going to talk about them. What do you need to, And so making a list, a checklist, a spreadsheet, a calendar, those things I think are really simple tools, and you can kind of do it in a way that makes sense for you, but making sure that you've got something so that you're not just guessing every time you go out, and that you have a strategy behind it. And a strategy can be very basic, but have a sense of of being able to put things out. And you spend so much time making the thing. Don't just let it fizzle. You want to give it the process it's due. You want to make sure that it has its shot. And it's more difficult now than ever because 200,000 people are putting songs on Spotify every single day. So if you think you can just put one thing out and it's gonna take off, I think you gotta kind of have that reality check a little bit. And then having that plan just helps you be prepared. And it also helps you like take a little bit of the pressure off. Do one little thing every day instead of waiting till the last day and do everything at once.
Okay, Trevor, it's great. I just literally pulled you.
Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm always psyched.
I literally pulled you from your journey. So I'll just end it with this one. It's the ECMS weekend. Festivals are kind of happening, in a few months and stuff. What advice would you share? Like, how can artists or people that are planning to come for conference, like, how can they actually plan? Because you said planning is a thing, but what are some things they can actually do when it comes to planning for the next ECMA, the next music week, whatever it is?
Yeah, well, definitely make sure you know when the deadlines are. Make sure what you know what you need to get that application in. And if you're applying for a showcase festival, really good things to have on hand are high quality live performance footage. So people want to be able to see that show before they actually get to the show to know what they're in for. And just do the homework, do the research. When you come to a thing like this, you get to go to the official conferences and you might be able to set up some one-on-one meetings. It's all good. But sometimes you're also just meeting people in the hall. Sometimes you're grabbing them out of nowhere and doing an interview. So you should be able to, even if you can't get that meeting, you should be able to spot that person and bend their ear for 3 minutes, because that actually might be more advantageous. So just do prep. Prep is like the mission, I think, all the time.
Trevor Murphy, for all the awesome things you do, and exactly, like, I'm always listening to your voice on the Music Nova Scotia board. Thanks for the amazing things you do, and thanks for letting me drag you here
of course,
today.
Man. Yeah, big pleasure.
Thanks,
Steve.